So in this video, let's do a deep dive on the word certainty. Does it mean anything at all? Maybe it's meaningless. And if it is, can we be certain of this? And what would that even mean? Last week or so, I did a video on AI, and I gave two positions. One was materialism. The other was a consciousness first position. And it was super obvious that I was biased and leaned towards the one. But a few of you commented that while I seem biased, I didn't seem like I was preaching. I didn't seem like I was coming to you with absolute truth. Like, look, the consciousness first is just absolute metaphysical certitude. And that really hit me because an old memory from about 10 or 15 years ago came to mind instantly when I read that. And it was Eckhart Tolle, right when the Power of Now was super popular. He was being interviewed, and the interviewer asked this really interesting question. It was something like, all these interesting experiences you've had, what if God told you that they were all wrong? And Eckhart paused for a second. He said, then God would be wrong. And I remember that because it just was like, wow, it's impressive. Like, what a degree of metaphysical certitude. And most of us have a hard time achieving that. So I'm going to talk about a couple other things, the self, but I want to throw out a quote by Voltaire. I've heard it both ways, who knows. Uncertainty is an uncomfortable position, but certainty is an absurd one. Now, the reason I like this quote is because it shows, and this is the whole foundation of the new book I'm working on, it shows how words used to have meaning in the sense that they were experiential. We could experience them. Water, river, mountain, all these things, they had a physicality to them. And then very recently, words started to point to only other words. They left the experiential world and went into the abstract world. And so now uncertainty is an uncomfortable position. Well, we know what an uncomfortable position. If you do yoga, maybe the first time you do something new, and it's an uncomfortable position. Your meat suit it's uncomfortable. And so that is perfectly reasonable. But look how things have changed. Now it's a mentalistic, an abstraction. You can have an uncomfortable position inside your skull. And so, uncertainty is an uncomfortable position. Just thought that was rather interesting. So let's turn the spotlight of experience on the word certainty. Next time you feel certain, examine it. Can you see certitude? Can you really feel it? Could you look at it? Or is certainty just another one of these words that tricked us into its existence? And the reason I think this is important is because when I started this whole journey, it became obvious that the self was an illusion because it's something one cannot experience. That's the paradox. Okay, experience the self, and you could look in the mirror and you could see your face, but the real question is, to whom does the face belong? And that's where it gets tricky. Then you see the self is just an idea of something, and you can't really experience the idea even. And so the whole illusion, the whole thing just collapses, and you're like, oh, there is no self. There's just immediate experience and this flux of just experiences. And there's no one solid, stable person behind those. And so I started off with the self, and then it became more and more obvious as this last 3 years that I've been working on this, that so many words, from government to ownership, words that impact our lives, then they only impact our lives because we believe that they have some kind of existence when they're just a made-up word that doesn't point to anything that we can really experience. And so with certitude, which comes, we put a lot behind this word because we want to be absolutely, like with non-dualism. Non-dualism, we jump into it. My next video is actually going to be a little bit about the dark side of non-dualism, but it's something comforting. We're all interconnected. Consciousness exists, the survival or the death of the meat suit. So it feels good, but we're all craving that certitude. Like, well, okay, I kind of buy this, but how do I become absolutely certain of it? Well, just something to put in the realm of possibilities. Maybe this certainty you're looking for is completely made up.